Hi. So you know that moment when you read a book that you loved as a kid or even a younger adult, and it's just not like you remembered? It doesn't hold up. Maybe you're disappointed and maybe you wish that you had just never read it again, because then it would still have that magical place in your memory that it used to. That was my fear for Eragon. I was kind of feeling in the mood to reread these because of the new book that is supposedly coming out this year, 2023. But what if I read it again and was disappointed? Either disappointed in the book itself or disappointed in myself for thinking it was so amazing. Book communities and book reviewers especially can be kind of snobby, and they don't always have kind things to say about the book Eragon. And those people are so smart. They should know what they're talking about. Do I need to feel like the book I love is less than good, which means my taste is less than good? But I was one of those people who read it when I was younger and loved it. I loved it enough that I wanted to buy each of the next books as they came out. I loved them enough that when I heard that Paolini was writing a science fiction novel, I bought that one too. You can't see it, it's hiding behind Captain Picard on my shelf. When it first came out, I was in high school, but I didn't read it then. I was probably 19 or 20 when I read it for the first time. I saw it on the shelf at our local Walmart, and it was this beautiful blue color with gold embossed letters and a dragon on the front, and I thought, I have to read that. And when I did, I was so glad that I did. I did read other fantasy before then, but I wasn't as widely read in the genre to recognize where a lot of the supposedly cliche elements were being pulled from. The first time I heard that Eragon was just Star Wars with dragons, I was like, nuh-uh. I think I would notice, but I think it's really important to remember who the intended audience for this book is. Paolini was not an older, mature author when he wrote this. He was a teenager who loved fantasy. He has called Eragon his love letter to the fantasy genre, and I think it shows. For those people who say that this book is cliche and derivative, I'd like to put a different spin on that. I would like to say, young Paolini, fan of fantasy books and stories, took all of the things that he loved from all of those different places, put them all together in one book, gave it to a young audience. He was going to libraries and schools because he knew who his audience was. It was not the older, mature, well-read adult. His audience was other kids, and the kids reading this get all of what Paolini thought were the best parts of fantasy wrapped up in one little book and can look at it and go, that was amazing. I want to read more. Books about magic and dragons are awesome. I should look for more books like this. For an adult who has read all of those books that inspired Eragon, you might read Eragon and think, wow, this is cliched and derivative, and I've read all those books that this is based on. We are not the audience. I have now read a lot of the books that Eragon is based on. I can see where the little elements have been pulled from, and I'm fine with it. I know that he was not targeting me to read it at the age I am now, but at the age I was when I first read it. And that's the important thing to remember. I think if we look at Eragon as gateway fantasy, then it's doing exactly its job. There is a generation of readers who love fantasy books because of this. It is a book written by a kid, young adult, for kids and young adults, and I have to say that Paolini has done a great service to the fantasy genre by creating a book that will hook so many young readers and get them to read even more. So thank you, Mr. Paolini. This is the original book that I bought at my local Walmart with the rips and the tape, and it is well loved. I now have a hardback version of this, and I will be putting this on my son's bookshelf, and I am excited for them to read it when they get old enough. In the next week or so, I will be putting out a video on Eragon as a character from this first book and why I think Saphira was right in choosing him to hatch for. So come back for that one. Subscribe here for more bookish content like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye!